Okay, so we'll make a start. My name is Annette and my colleague is Carmel. And we're delighted to be invited here to do our wee hour. It might be less than an hour. Um, I know people might be hungry, including ourselves. So one of the things we're going to do in about 5 or 10 minutes is show a video that's about 15 minutes long. So we might give you a chance in between to grab a cup of tea and then you can eat and munch while the wee video's on. So just a very quick rundown of what we're going to do. Carmel's going to introduce a project that she's involved in, social prescribing. We're going to show a short video then, and we might have chance for a bit of a chat. And then Carmel's going to do the 12 alternatives of Christmas, and then a wee bit of sharing, and we finish with a small video. So I'm going to hand you over to Carmel.
All right, folks. My name's Carmel Gallagher, and I'm the Social Prescribing Coordinator based in the Annette Development Partnership. I've been working there about 6 years now, and it's a project that's funded by the HSC, and it's really about connecting people with social activities and resources in their local community to enhance their general health and well-being. It's targeted mainly at people with low level anxiety and depression or people who are isolated for whatever reason. But I would also say that social prescribing is for anybody that feels that they need it. Um, who can refer? So referrals can come from GPs, they can come from anybody within the primary care team, and that could be an OT, physio, community mental health, family members or friends with the individual's consent can make referrals. Someone can self-refer, so they don't have to come through any professional organisation or any professional body to actually access the service. Or other agencies have referred in the past, like Donegal Domestic Violence Service, Jigsaw, Springboard. So really, it's open to anybody that feels they need it. Well, next slide, Anna.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry, if you just go back one. All right. So the initial appointment with the social prescribing coordinator takes about an hour, and it's confidential, so it's just between me and that person. We will let the GP know that they've accessed the services, just so they know what the person has been maybe referred to, but we don't talk about the general conversation that goes on. We complete a WHO Wellbeing Index, and that's really just to evaluate the service to see where they're starting at, and then we review it 3 months down the line and see have they moved on or has their general health or mental health improved any. So we'd use the Wheel of Life, which is a tool just that looks at different areas like their diet, their exercise, their social support, what they do to relax. And during that conversation, it becomes evident to the person and to me what's going well for them and what's maybe not going so well. And generally speaking, what would happen is the areas that aren't going so well, we would focus on. So say, for example, somebody wanted, or they weren't actually doing any exercise at the minute, and they wanted to focus on that, we might look at maybe joining a gym or going to a walking group or joining a group exercise class. So we would just discuss that. It's a voluntary service. So even to come and have that conversation with me, they're not compelled to participate in any activity. And sometimes the conversation itself can be the medicine, and they're just happy that they've offloaded, they've had a chance to chat to somebody, and they're happy maybe just to go about their business and not necessarily partake in a 6 week course, but it might even just be one workshop that sorts them out. Okay, so the individual is encouraged to participate in the activities, and all information is given. So it's really a signposting service. So the types of activities on it, the next wee slide. So just to give you a kind of an idea of what types of things that the social prescribing coordinator could be potentially signposting people to. There's a wee list there. So it could be yoga, it could be art classes, it could be personal development courses, it could be self-care courses, it could be gardening, it could be even citizens information. If they have a problem that's really worrying them and they need further advice on it, could be just going to citizens information. Very well, woman. A lot of people, even though I'm based in Annette and I cover all Annette, a lot of people are very happy to go either to Letterkenny or to Derry to access services. It could be the job club if they've been made redundant. It could be volunteering, befriending if they're retired. It could be a care support group if they're caring for somebody at home. The bibliotherapy is one element of social prescribing that I personally love, and that is really just accessing books on specific topics to help people. So it could be like one of the books I would have used would be The Mindful Way Through Depression. A lot of people who will come who have maybe been recently bereaved, and there's a great book called The Courage to Grieve, which I would signpost people to. And a lot of these books are available in local libraries, so it's great that people can go and access the book and just read it themselves and hopefully feel better for doing that. Insight and Shown is the counselling service, the voluntary counselling service based in Shown, so I can signpost to that. It could be sewing, crocheting, it could be a men's shed, it could be a book club, it could be Anam Cara, which is a service that supports people who have been bereaved. One of their children has passed away, and that could be any age group. It could be ETB courses, it could be the guidance service within the ETB. It could be weight management programs like Slimmer World Weight Watchers. It could be even listening to podcasts. A lot of young people are interested in podcasts now, and there's a lot of podcasts that focus on mental health and well-being, so they're great. And then the self-care tasks and workshops, some of which myself and Annette run as well. So that's just a very quick overview of what social prescribing is. It's available throughout Donegal. There's a few areas that aren't covered, but if there's anybody on who wants to find out about a specific area, they can give me a wee shout and I can signpost you to the social prescribing coordinator within your area. All right.
Thanks, Carmel. Okay, so we'll stop the share and we'll move on. So what we're going to do now, I suppose, it's important just to, I suppose, say at the beginning that both Carmel and myself work for an Shown Development Partnership, and we co-facilitate quite a number of different types of bespoke workshops depending on needs and that, and we sort of develop courses around, you know, what people say to us. So that's the political broadcast part done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you a short video by Marion Keyes, who's a well-known novelist, and she's I suppose academic, but she's a comedian. She's written lots of books. I'm sure some of you have heard of some of her books. She talks a lot about her own mental health and how she has dealt with it over the years, and it's quite a frank discussion, really, something that we can all take away something from it. Carmel and I were kind of sourcing, you know, what would be the best one, and we felt this was most appropriate. Now, it's obviously pre-COVID, so some of the ideas may not apply this year because of 2020 being an unusual year in all our lifetimes. It's still nonetheless well worth watching, and we'll send you the link afterwards, you know, if you'd like to just go over it again. I do also want to warn you that she uses an expletive, so if any are very, you know, harsh to that and, you know, afraid of that, sorry about that in advance. So that goes in there as well. So we'll just give you 1 or 2 minutes, and while we're doing that, if people wouldn't mind maybe unmuting, just say their name, and if any of you wanted to grab a quick cup of tea, now's the time to do it before I put on the video. So if people wouldn't mind, maybe since we have such a small group, we might as well take the advantage of hearing who's in the room. So Rebecca, can you unmute for a second and just tell us who you are, where you're from? Anna, have you? Oh no, there you go.
Oh, hi. I'm Rebecca, and I live in Buncrana.
Okay.
And just really interested in this and wanted to talk to you after maybe about who else can become involved or offer services and things. I'm a yoga instructor as well as meditation coach. So
great. Okay, great stuff.
Yeah.
Could be calling on you. Thank you. Louise?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, my name's Louise, and I live in Buncrana also. And I'm a music teacher. I teach piano and singing. So Carmel just gave me a call yesterday and told me this was on. So I was just interested in seeing what it was about.
All right. Thanks a million, Louise. Mary?
Hello, my name is Mary Monaghan, and I'm also live in Buncrana, so there's a strong Buncrana contingent here. And I'm interested because I work with job seekers and people looking for jobs and that. So I'm interested in finding out as much as I can about, the other services that are there. But I'm also interested in it myself. I'm interested in it just, to find out about it and exactly what's happening. And you have a certain amount of knowledge, but, coming to this gives you a greater insight. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mary. Connor?
Hi all. I just came in this morning because I'm currently doing my master's and looking into nature-based activities in regards to health and well-being. And I came across the term social prescribing quite a lot when I was interviewing people,
Okay.
and just wanted a little bit more information on what was currently happening in Inisho and in Donegal as a whole,
Yeah.
and get a bit more of an understanding in social prescribing as well.
All right, Connor, where are you from?
From the Twin Towns in Northern Ballybofey.
There you go. So you're not identifying which one. That causes a lot of controversy.
I thought I would sit in the fence in that one.
That's the first time I heard that. They usually say one or the other. Well done. Thanks, Connor. Maureen?
Am I on mute already?
No, you're grand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Maureen Doherty and I live in Carndonagh and I also work at IDP and I love all health and wellbeing stuff. As you know, girls, I'm all for it. I think everybody needs it, and just the more years I build up in my life, the more I need it. And I'm very interested in anything to do with it. So that's why I'm here.
Right. Thanks, Maureen.
Okay.
Irene?
My name is Irene. I live in Buncrana, and I'm interested in just the same as Maureen was saying, finding out what's out there and what's available.
Great. Thank you very much. And Anna, do you just want to say yourself?
So I look after the SkillNet program and policy and compliance for IDP. So it's a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff, but social prescribing is something that family, and especially this year, has been something that you can really see where it's so important to families, and especially people who are either in work and struggling, especially our frontline workers who need support, but right the way through to those that have been either furloughed or let go, and they struggle extremely hard for them to be able to see 2021 and what's coming. So and the idea of the 12 days of Christmas was literally just to be able to give people something to focus on to get us over to Christmas and get us into the new year and start making plans. And I think it's really important that they take the whole view of all that's going on in their life. So no, thank you, Gert.
Right. So bear with me now with this technology crack. Yeah, I have her. Just want to make sure the volume's okay. Can you see that screen there now, folks? And I'm going to play this now and hope the volume's okay.
Full screen on it.
I'm going to put the full screen, but I want to just put in that I can see you all as well. If you want to mute again now, and you can just use the wee signals if there's anything you want me to pause at or anything like that. But anyway, get the popcorn out and away you go. And I'll make it bigger.
Come on in. I want to talk to you about Christmas. Now look it. If you are one of those people who thinks Christmas is the happiest time of the year, stop watching this now, because we'll fall out. But if you are in any way, feeling any way vulnerable, stay with me and we'll talk. I want to tell you the truth about Christmas. I have learned over my many, many years that if you're in any way vulnerable, Christmas exacerbates it. Like if you're prone to anxiety, or if you're already really, really overworked and stressed, or if you're lonely, or if you're bereaved, if your loved one has left you, if you haven't enough money, all of those things are made miles, miles worse by Christmas. And the first thing that I'd like to talk about is fear of your family. There is no such thing as a functional family. Every family is in some way dysfunctional. Families are weird yolks. And if you're estranged from your family for your own self-care, that's fine. That's great. You're doing what's right for you. And if you're afraid of going back to your family of origin, that's also normal, you know. And even if you have a good relationship with them, being back as an adult amongst your siblings and your parents has a very weird effect on us, because when we're adults, we are far more powerful than we were as children. You know, we don't have to, we're not powerless in the way that we were when we were a child. But I have found that, you know, when I lived in London and I used to come home, I used to slot right back into the person I used to be when I was a teenager in my early 20s. And, you know, I felt rage and resentment, and I fought with my siblings. And there's something about being back in the family home that makes me revert to a younger self. And if that happens to you, and if you find it really painful, limit your exposure to them. And a lot of people do that. There's nothing kind of weird or shameful about doing that. Lie if you can't be honest, you know. If you don't have the courage, and I understand this, to say, I can't be with you because you terrify me and you make me feel insane and really depressed for weeks afterwards. If you can't say that, and that's fine, pretend you're sick. Get a second period that month, or, you know, suddenly develop a blinding headache. It's something that makes you escape. If you're staying in the house, escape to your bedroom, or if you're visiting just for the day, to just leave, or to not go at all. You're allowed. And I think the really important thing all through Christmas is, if you're feeling vulnerable, to keep talking to yourself, to keep saying, reminding yourself you're doing okay. And if you have to show up, if you feel like you don't have the courage to not go, forgive yourself, you know, and say, you're okay, you're doing this because the pain of not doing it would be greater. Now, if you are the person who is hosting the thing, I really, really feel for you, because you have far less opportunity to escape. And if you're already knackered, and most people are at this time of year, because it sends us, like, Christmas is a series of self-inflicted cruelties that we do as a society. And, like, never forget that an awful lot of money is made out of the need for the perfect Christmas. I think Christmas is when we think, this is my opportunity to showcase myself and my family as the best version we are. And it reminds me of my poor dad, you know, the tension of Christmas Day. And he used to be racing around and trying to make everything gorgeous and coming running out of the steam-filled kitchen, like with plates of turkey that nobody would eat because it was too dry. And I could feel him thinking, I work so hard. I try so hard. I want us to be normal and perfect like other families. Why is it not happening? I have flung money at this. You know, we've put so much effort into it and it's still wrong. If you are that woman, and it's usually a woman who feels like that, can you think about, you see, and I suffer from this as well, perfectionism. You know, I feel that if Christmas Day is not perfect, it means I have failed, that I am a failure as a person, that my relationships are failures, and my family is a failure. But perfectionism, it's just such a brutal stick that we beat ourselves with. And there is no such thing as perfection. Like, happiness with family members happens in split-second moments here and there throughout the year, and almost never on Christmas Day, when the pressure is just being piled on people, piled and piled and piled. And when you're knackered and you're worried, it's not going to happen. And another thing, Christmas is about expectations, and like, expectations are simply disappointments under construction. Like, expectations are never going to be the beautiful things that we would like them to be. Now, another thing that Christmas really brings up is loneliness. And I mean, there are all kinds of loneliness, like where you are literally, you know, on your own, you know, or or you've recently lost somebody, you know, somebody, maybe your partner left you, or your partner died, or your parent died, or your child won't speak to you, or your best friend has cut you off, you know. And loneliness is, I think, one of the hardest things really, because it's a powerless position. You know, when you have the fear of family and everything, you can try and remove yourself. But with loneliness, I mean, one of the things that has often been said to me is, you know, to go and maybe volunteer and, you know, help cook Christmas dinner for people who are even worse off than oneself. And that's all well and good, but if you're already overwhelmed with misery, you know, by the human condition, and you can't cope, then consider Christmas Day as just an ordeal, a series of hours and minutes to be endured, you know, and that's okay. There are times when, like, there just is no point in trying to put a gloss on things. Sometimes you just have to look at, like, say, I've woken up at 8, it's 8 in the morning and I will be going to bed at 11 o'clock tonight, and that's 15 hours that I have to endure on my own, and it is really, really unpleasant. And be nice to yourself. Keep saying to yourself, this is awful, but it will end. And do whatever you can in that time to try and make the hours pass as, you know, try and distract yourself. But never be cross with yourself for not being part of a so-called happy family. Because trust me, most people are having a pretty grim time on Christmas Day, if the truth be told. Another thing that kind of breaks my heart about Christmas is people who feel that they can't afford financially to give their children or their family the sort of Christmas that they see their siblings managing, or their work colleagues, or just those imaginary families that actually don't exist. And just remember that, like, if you are poor, it's not your fault. This is a very unequal world we live in. And I worry about people getting into debt, you know, to give their children this sort of perfect Christmas. And if you feel that that's what you have to do, forgive yourself for it. Like, if you're going to do something like that, don't pile shame onto yourself into the bargain. If you feel you can step back and say to your kids, look, I'm really sorry, you know, but there just isn't the money this year. It'll be painful. It's painful because we feel shame that is not earned. You know, I remember being so skint and I felt really ashamed, but it's not like I was a terrible person or a lazy person. It was just circumstances. So you shouldn't feel ashamed. Now, coming back to the person who was overworked, you know, knock 3 things off your list, please. Like, who cares if the trifle isn't homemade? If somebody whinges about it, say to them, all right, then, well, you can do it next year. You know, or like, you don't need 4 kinds of potatoes. Even Irish people, I'm saying this to you, you don't. You know, like, everybody gets, okay, everyone does not get enough to eat on Christmas Day, but those who have too much on that particular day. And Jesus Christ, those who can afford to feed themselves on Christmas Day are not going hungry the rest of the year. Calm down. You know, it really doesn't matter if some of the things are crossed off the list. Now, what else did I want to talk to you? Addictions. If you are prone to addiction, this time of the year just brings them to the surface like nothing else. I don't drink anymore, and I am so grateful for that, because Christmas was the worst time, because it was sort of open season on drinking, so I could disguise myself as a normal drinker, and it just meant that I drank and drank and drank and drank and drank and went around sweating alcohol, you know, waking up sick and terrified and starting drinking again because it was okay, because it was Christmas. And you know, for those with eating disorders, Christmas is again an awful time. For those with spending addictions, Christmas is horrific. like it's trigger, 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 trigger everywhere. Like if you're an addict, take extra care of yourself at this time of the year. And if you're in recovery, be really, really careful with yourself, because there's feckin' landmines everywhere. You know, there's things just waiting to start you again, you know, if you're not careful. And I think the most important thing is for anyone is to keep talking to your inside self, reminding yourself that you're okay, that you are better off being true to yourself than to do things to oblige other people. You know, like you really are. You know, we're brought up to feel guilty if we don't do the supposed things. And it doesn't matter. You know, we've got to mind ourselves. Like if you're prone to depression, if you're prone to anxiety, mother of God, again, this time of year, it's just, you know, it's unavoidable, really. And the only person who can take care of ourselves is ourselves. Nobody else is really going to say, look, take Christmas Day off, stay in bed, never mind the turkey, don't be bothered getting up at 5 o'clock to cook it. You know, you're grand, we'll be grand, we'll have cheese on toast. No one is going to say that. No one except yourself. And it takes courage to be able to disappoint people. Yeah, it does, you know, but look, all I'm saying is, it's really hard. And it is one day. And get through it be as kind and as compassionate to yourself as you possibly can. And then all the parties and stuff around Christmas, fuck them. Don't bother going if you don't want. Just don't. Like, you know, most people who are at Christmas parties are langers drunk. They don't care if you're there or not. You know, all they want is an excuse to get jarred. You know, like, I'll just say it again. Mind yourself, because nobody else will. And you deserve to be minded. And I suppose I'm more aware of this than ever because of Dad and everything. You know, we get one short, precious life. And how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. So be kind to yourself, be compassionate to yourself, and try and enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not a failure, you're not a bad person, you're a normal person. I will be back to you soon to complain about New Year's Eve. So that is me finished complaining about Christmas for now. Remember, be kind to yourself.
Gears, do you think because of COVID that we're more all inclined to sort of say, well, feck it this year, we'll just do, and that we'll allow ourselves to be kind to ourselves this year?
I think it's a bit easier this year because you're not going to have, you know, the people calling around and the visitors, and there's still the social distancing. So I think Christmas is a bit easier this year.
Yeah, I definitely think
Yeah, the
so.
pressure isn't as much, I don't think.
No.
Well, it's like she says, it's up to yourself. I've taken the choice. I don't know why I don't like Christmas. I think it's far too much pressure on women, and you're just, as she says, knackered. If you're a bit of a perfectionist and you want everything right, it gets to Christmas Day, I want to lie in a corner. I'm so tired. I'm not doing that anymore. And then, you know, everybody makes you feel guilty, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's about spending time with people. It's not about presents and buying and buy. I know we're trying to get the economy up and running again. I'll do that in the new year, don't you worry. But Christmas to me is just a headache.
Yeah.
They call me the Grinch here in the house, and I just.
Maureen, you're going to have to come move up to Eskaheen for a wee run, because I love Christmas.
I have a sister and she loves it, and my mother doesn't even want to put up a tree, and my sister gives her such a hard time. I said, will you let my mother do what she wants to do? It's her life. You light up your house like it's Buckingham Palace, but leave us alone. You know, everybody should be allowed to do. I wouldn't give Laura a hard time about her mad love of it, so she should just accept my wish is to just get it over with as soon as possible.
And as someone who loves Christmas, what do you think of that video? Because myself and Annette do the self-care courses, and we will admit to them that we're not really that mad about Christmas ourselves. But
You know,
as someone who loves this, what do you think?
the Irish Times did a webinar a couple of weeks ago, the 4 wise women. So you're our 2 wise women today, and we've got 9+. And Connor, you're an honorary woman just for today as well. But, you know, I think, you know, I worked in hotels and I've been in the tourist industry for so many years that Christmas was just one big thrill from sort of the end of September, getting ready, getting the Christmas parties, getting, you know what I mean? So I just get excited, like sort of from this Friday on. Now, I don't have a Christmas decoration up in the house at this minute in time, but from this Friday on, it's going to be Santa Land. It's going to be, I've my lists, my presents, all presents are done, everything's sitting, everything's wrapped and all that, you know what I mean? And I'm an organizer, but I love my lists. I love people. I'm going to find it hard this year not having, as Mary said, people around. That's going to be the hardest thing for me because I just love the house full. I just love people coming in all doors, you know. So that will be hard. I think that will be the hardest thing. So yes, I enjoyed what she said and I take on what she said, but there is that sort of, if you are the person who is the organizer and everything else, that's okay too.
Yeah. Well, I used to have a boss of mine, and he would have went with all his siblings and all his children for his mothers for years and years. And then one year, just out of the blue, his mother just pulled down the shutters and said, "Nobody's getting in. You can all have Christmas in your own house." And he was absolutely terrified that he would have to spend Christmas with his wife and his own children. He was in his 40s, early 40s. And I said to him, "Martin, see what I do now about Christmas Day? I set my expectations as low as they can go. And then anything other than that is a bonus." You know, because everybody starts to fight, they start to fall out. Somebody gets a bigger dinner than somebody else. You know, there's always, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect Christmas Day. So see when my expectations are on the floor. So if they come up an inch or two, that's a bonus. That's the way I get through the day.
Can you, Anna, put us on the breakout rooms for 5 minutes?
I can indeed. I will indeed.
Just do it randomly because I just want to hear some of the other voices as well that are
Breakout rooms.
feedback.
Just assign automatically. Do you want the
Random, put Carmel and I in 2 different rooms.
okay?
Do it random, doesn't really matter. Right. Can people just press join?
So that's one and you're in the other. Okay.
That's just a good idea to just discover some people's ideas and that, you know, in the smaller groups. So did you all enjoyed the video anyway?
Yeah, it's very good.
There's some good learning points out of it. Yeah. So that's really all, I suppose. It's just lots of learning there for us to take away, you know, expectations or disappointment onto construction. You know, I thought it was really telling. And that it can be a lonely time. I suppose it's important that we remember other people at this time and what their circumstances in. And it's easy to do a good deed is to ignore it, you know. And to be honest with ourselves, we do need to be more assertive. We do need to say, I need you to, you know, tidy that room. I need you to peel potatoes for me. You know, I need you to go out and do that. And people are usually very kind. Yeah, Rebecca, we'll send the link as well. We can probably put the link into the chat, can't we? I'll try and do that now when Carmel's going to
But how do we save it then, Annette, if it's in the chat? If it was on an email?
You can copy the link.
Can you?
Yeah.
Yes,
You'll be able to copy the link when you click on
I'll send it out to everybody with the link to
Okay.
Will you?
Don't worry.
Send it out.
Watch it again.
That would
Send it to all your family members, and then you'll have to lie back and say, she told me to not do anything.
Yeah,
this
we're
year.
going on strike.
I'm going to Alice. I don't know about the rest of you.
Mine says all the things we haven't got the courage to say.
Oh, I'm telling you, the courage is coming. It's
Come on, good morning.
Yeah, but I think we do have to, especially those of us who have adult kids. I mean, and fair enough, if with small kids, you're still at that stage. There's no kind of way around it. You make the most of it. But if, you know, you're in a situation where there are adult kids, you do have to tell people to sort of, you know, pull their weight, you know, and sit down and not feel guilty. I think that's one of the other problems we have is we feel guilty when we're not keeping the whole show on the road, that it's really down to us, you know. So when you sit down, have a rest and take a glass of wine or whatever you want to do, don't feel guilty about it. You know, I just think that's the way with it. So Carmel now is going to share 12 alternatives of Christmas.
Well, it's to do, you know, the theme that was there for a while. I think it's a fairly recent thing, and I don't know where the tradition kind of originated of the 12 pubs of Christmas.
Okay.
Well, obviously we're not going to possibly be able to go to 12 pubs this Christmas, and maybe generally it's not maybe the best thing to do, or you're not going to feel a lot better after you've been to the 12 pubs. So we were kind of just thinking of alternative things to do instead of the 12 pubs of Christmas, and do 12 of these instead. And you could just pick one, you know, it's just to give people ideas of things they can be doing. And sometimes I think that time between, you know, if you've got an extended period off work during Christmas and you lie about the house for 3 or 4 days, and then you might get a bit fed up and a bit bored, and you might think, what could I do? So maybe it's a good idea to plan for those days. So instead of the 12 pubs, we're going to suggest maybe, especially in a show, the 12 beaches of Christmas. So there's plenty of beaches around the Northwest that you could be visiting over the Christmas period, and maybe even try and visit a beach that you've never been to before. So there could be 1 or 2 of them on the list. And the 12 books of Christmas, now getting through 12 books, fairly, you know, you need to be pretty quick at the reading to do that during Christmas. But even 12 chapters, or even revisit a book that was from your childhood that just brings back different kinds of memories.
You could identify 12 books that you're going to read for the rest of the year.
Yes, one a month or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and somebody like Maureen there, the 12 bakes of Christmas, we're not suggesting that you spend all your time in the kitchen.
Well, buns.
If you enjoy baking, it's an idea to get the recipe book out and to start making a few things maybe you've never made before. 12 photos, we're all now handy with the camera, and we've all got cameras on our phones. So if you're out and about walking or on the beach during Christmas, to take 12 photographs and even share them with people. Of just where you've been and what you've been doing. The 12 outfits, I seen this the other day on a few people's Instagram, where you know your wardrobe is full of clothes that 80% you don't wear. Well, do you know what? If you're having a day at house and you're feeling a bit bored, go up and into that wardrobe and shake it up a bit and try on a few different things. Hopefully they will fit after the COVID zone, but you'll still get into them. And try them on, mix it up, and wear a few of them out even on your walk or wherever you're heading.
Yeah.
Christmas movies, I'm sure there's a list that everybody could be at. There's a new one there on, I hear a lot of people chatting about it, Jingle Jangle. It's a Christmas movie on Netflix. So there's your first one. If you haven't seen it, it's supposed to be really good, but just line up the films and maybe do one a day, or maybe if you're having a binge watch. Another wee thing I'll shout out, with a lot of the girls and IDP know about this, Anne with an E on Netflix, if you haven't watched it.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
great.
I've watched it. It was
12 episodes over Christmas.
Yeah.
And even, I suppose for next year, I know the day trips were few and far between in 2020. There were maybe lots of trips that you had planned during the summer months, and then when lockdown happened again in September, October time, we didn't get them. But you know what? We should always go somewhere in the new year that we've never been before. And I've got a couple of places that I'm thinking already that I plan to go in the summertime and didn't get around yet. So I'm hoping to get there maybe spring, summer this year. 12 DIY projects. And by DIY projects, I don't mean like knocking down walls or revamping the whole house, but if there's 12 wee niggly things that have been kind of, that wee list that's always at the back of your head, write it down. And if you don't do it yourself, get somebody in the house to help you, even like pull nails out, fix doors that are hanging off, whatever it is, all those wee niggly jobs, get them done when you're off over Christmas. 12 poems of Christmas. Do you know what I was going to suggest to people as well? Just when you see that wee list there, if there's anybody that can think of maybe a walk, maybe in a show or in the Northwest somewhere that you've done that you think people wouldn't know about, one of your best kept secrets, share it in the chat, because a lot of the work that myself and Annette do around self-care and the personal development, it's all about the sharing element of it. It's about people, helping each other and supporting each other. It's not always about being Annette having all the answers. It's people share their tips and ideas as well. So if any of you have any walks or any bakes or books that you want to recommend, stick them in the chat there. And the 12 poems of Christmas. So even, I know I would use quite a bit of poetry even within the social prescribing, because words are very powerful. And sometimes even at that time of year, when you have a wee bit of time off and you have a bit of time on your hands, you actually look up a few poems and read them and see how they make you feel. Even the likes of Seamus Heaney or some of them kind of more well-known poets. But there's one that I loved. If you haven't read it, and Annette knows this one too, it's called The Journey by Mary Oliver. If you haven't read it, go and read that over Christmas. It's a great poem for women. Okay.
Could I add on to the poems?
Surely.
Even maybe 10 or 12 reflections as well, or journaling. Journaling's a really therapeutic thing to do as well, to be mindful, particularly of the year that's gone by, and ideas for your future. So maybe just add that on to your poems one, Carmel. Yeah.
Yep. And then the new dinner recipes, I'm sure we've all got them Jamie Oliver 15 minutes, 20-minute cookbooks lying about the house, and you love to look at the pictures, but do you ever attempt to actually make any of the recipes? So there's a wee challenge for you over Christmas when you get fed up with the turkey and the rich dinners. Dig into one of them Jamie Oliver. There's a recommendation from Anna, but we'll read them out when we finish up here.
Fully dish, yeah.
And then the last wee one that I've written there is just songs or albums. If any of you are getting what do you call those, Alexas or any of those types of devices where you can just shout out the song, write down 12 songs that evoke happy memories, maybe from your childhood or from your teenage years, your early 20s, your first love, all those different things that make you feel happy and warm inside. Write down the songs and just lie up someday and keep shouting, Alexa, play whatever. Or you get them up. Oh, Maureen, you're thinking of one already, I can see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Alexa, make the Christmas dinner. That'd be great.
Don't think
Anna has a walk up there. Where is it, Anna? Tully Dish?
Where's
Can
that?
you explain where that is, Anna?
Right, if you come out of Buncrana and towards Tully Dish takes you can actually go straight on over and into Burnfoot from it. And so if you come out the Cassie Road or up that's Halley, where Coil Fields and that. So go on up there and you come down to the Tully Dish Bridge, and there's two roads. One that'll take you out to Muff, but the first road to your left takes you into Sorn, where we used to have to go with Daddy for many, many years every summer to cut turf and foot turf. But now there's windmills out there as well. but there is the most beautiful walk out there. It's very manageable for all levels, and you can absolutely get lost out there and hear nothing and see nothing, just pure scenery. It's beautiful, really, really lovely. So it reminds me of my dad and those kind of things, but it's a lovely walk, really, really nice. No matter, because mum's 85 and I was able to take her, and she, it was easy enough for her to manage as well.
And is there a pathway there, or are you walking
Carmack Road.
Road, right? Okay.
Carmack Road with very little traffic. My God, you'll be surprised if you see any, like, there is houses and everything out there now. There's people live out there, but Rena Donaghy and the councillor, that would be the road that her home house would be on.
Right.
Yeah.
And Louise, you suggested Mill River as well.
Yeah, just, if you're walking, even if you're in around the town for a walk in the evening or anything, if you just walk up around by the mill, and there's actually wee steps that go down, and it's a very short little walk, but it's absolutely beautiful. Like, I got some gorgeous photographs there.
Yeah.
Louise, I noticed that there very recently in Buncrana. I didn't even know that was there, but it seems
I didn't either. And I've been living here all my life, and I didn't even know it was there until last year. But it's beautiful.
See if any of you get into Derry over the holidays. If you've never, and I know, like, I used to live in the Craft Village and live within the walls for many years. And I suppose back in the Troubles, they were partitioned off. You couldn't walk the whole way around. But if any of you have never walked the full circle of the walls, it's absolutely beautiful. And you see if you go in the evening now, all the lights and the trees and the wee angels all lit up. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, so I did that quite a bit during lockdown. So that's my recommendation for a walk. So that's just a wee idea of 12 alternative things. Keep out of the pub, girls and boys.
Yeah.
And do you see,
very much.
See if you go to Benone Beach and look back across it on a shown, it's just absolutely beautiful. Like, it's a lovely spot too. So it's as more, it's part of our locality too. So it's a good spot,
Okay, so we're coming towards the end now. We're gonna conclude with a nice wee video of a youth choir from Drogheda singing Memories, because we think this is a year is going to be of memories. We think it's very appropriate. And before that, just one thing that I want to get you all to do, and it's something that one of the mental health experts were talking on the radio the last day, and she was saying that one of the things we're all missing is hugs, and she said, but you can hug yourself, and that's a really easy thing. So I'm going to ask you all now to give yourselves a hug.
I get my arms around me. Not so much of a weight. Oh.
That's very doable,
The same.
So we're gonna finish with this wee video, and I'd just like to thank you all for participating. Thank you for hosting. Carmel, do you want to say thanks as well, and then we'll share the video.
I hope you have a lovely Christmas, peaceful
and enjoyable.
Where you want it to be. Hope it's lovely anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I hope this comes on. Wait a minute. Of course. Just when I want it to work, it'll not. Hold on. Bear with me. Memories.
What's the main street in Buncrana like now? Is it busy?
It's busy enough at the minute. I was on there this morning and yesterday, and it's busy.
Can you see that?
Coming up now, Annette, I think.
Can you see it now?
We just see a sort of like a grey screen at the minute.
Right, I'll stop the share and try it again then. So I have it on the screen here myself. I think that's it now. See it now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
The ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today, close to the ones that we lost on the way, 'cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back you. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain, when I believed in forever and everything would stay the same. Now my heart feel like December when somebody say your name. day. 'Cause I can't reach out to call you, but I know I will one day, yeah.
Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday, yeah.
But everything will be alright. Go with your voice and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today. Close to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the dreams bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. There's a time that I remember when I never felt so lost. When I felt that all the hatred was too powerful to stop. Now my heart feels like an ember, and it's lighting up the dark. I'll carry these torches for ya, let you know I'll never drop, yeah.
Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday, hey, hey.
But everything will be alright. Go and raise your voice and say, hey. Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. 'Cause the dreams bring back those memories of everything we've been through. Close to the ones here today. Close to the ones that we lost on the way. 'Cause the dreams bring back all the memories. And the memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Here's to the world. Cheers. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back you.
There you go.
Beautiful.
That's nice.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Hear that one enough, can you, Annette?
No, definitely not. Wee kitties, aren't they?
Yeah, so
Lovely, yeah.
The conductor is so excited.
animated is all.
It's fab.
So, no, guys, thank you very, very much, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we have Mary in the hot seat.
Married.
So it's it's so important that at this time when our families are all experiencing difficulties, maybe out of work or reduced hours or whatever else, like knowing that Ashton and Mary are there is just it's that you're handing them over to safe hands that'll talk them through, because they don't want to listen to us a lot of the time. Say, oh, you stop it, leave me alone, like you're always at me or whatever. So having somebody there to signpost to is brilliant, and we will definitely be getting these back in the new year to maybe expand a bit on the work that you are doing. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Anna.
Have a great day.
Right.
See you later.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.